Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to speak this afternoon at the official ASEAN Summit. On behalf of the Royal Government of Cambodia, I would like to congratulate Chair of this summit, Philippines, on the convening of this summit. Allow me to extend my warmest welcome to all representing ASEAN member states. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for your participation and interest in this summit. ASEAN has grown over the years as such the development of ASEAN's position eventually shifting into a more important role. This includes to help reduce tension, maintaining peace, stability, and promoting economic and cultural support beyond Southeast Asia. Despite challenges faced by the ASEAN country, we have our ASEAN motto, One Vision, One Identity, One Community, has stirred the ASEAN nation into a positive light. With an increase of number of non-ASEAN countries collaborating and establish formal relations with ASEAN and acceding to treaty of amity and cooperation in Southeast Asia, ASEAN is beginning to expand and play important global roles by expanding and strengthening engagement in dialogues and other nations of mutual benefits. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the term of refugee crisis is not a norm for us anymore, as there are more refugees are coming into ASEAN borders to seek aid and help. This crisis is happening at a global scale, especially the tragic incident that happened when a young Syrian boy named Alan Kurdi was washed up at the Turkish beach of Bodrum. Significant numbers of refugees fleeing from the violence, dispute, and abuse from the countries, and ASEAN has the right to help and come up with supportive measures to aid the refugees, giving them the basic needs and basic human rights. Several approaches have been suggested such that it will help in resolving this issue, including providing land, space to set up refugee settlements, and acknowledging the social welfare and development of refugees. As ASEAN Day is approaching closer in 2017, it is a reminder that ASEAN is growing stronger in terms of connectivity within the member states as each year goes by. As ASEAN, we must continue to move forward for the greater good for the world and for the nation in ASEAN. We are destined to make an impact in history. We must not forget the leaders have adopted the Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025, which is known as MPAC 2025, on the 28th ASEAN Summit. With potential young leaders, strategic planning, and range of technology, MPAC 2020 will deliver great opportunities for the people of ASEAN. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let us welcome the President of Indonesia, Her Honorable Michalini Bashira.
His Excellency, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude our deliberation, let me express my sincere appreciation to all my fellow colleagues whose active and constructive participation has made this successful productive discussion under the theme of refugee crisis. My appreciation also goes to the Secretary General and the hardworking staff of the ASEAN Secretariat for the excellent support they have provided us. Before moving on to the crux, I'd like to acknowledge my President's work on the Syrian crisis by putting the pressure on the United Nations Security Council member states and the United Nations Security Council to make a collective act to resolve the conflict in Syria. The former President sent a letter asking the United Nations Security Council and 5 of its members that have the veto power to provide a political solution for the Syrian people affected by the conflict. The question we should be asking the world leaders will determine the fate of mankind. And definitely, refugee crisis is a test of humanity. Many Rohingya refugees arrive in Indonesia as the nearest transit country on a journey they hope will bring them safety in Australia. To hasten the process for resettlement, the United Nations Refugee Agency will have to assist in documenting the status of the refugee accordingly. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Desperate refugees with nothing on their back except some clothes are the migrants most likely to secure their own income through establishing small businesses. This hardworking entrepreneurship is a net economic boost to the refugees' host country rather than a drain. Besides, refugees are treated as an illegal migrant under the current Indonesian law, with the risk of lengthy detention in lockups like Kalidas. I will take a concerted effort to implement the draft presidential regulation on handling of the refugees and asylum seekers to ensure people fleeing persecution are not criminalized when they reach our country. And also, it is implemented swiftly, humanely, and in line with the spirit of the Refugee Convention. Last but not least, I believe that refugee crisis is now a regional concern and it should be resolved together as a team of ASEAN. We, ASEAN, will pursue initiatives and enhance the cooperation with global partners to ensure all the citizens live in peace, stability, security, and growth together. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, let us welcome the President of Laopedia, His Honorable Maximilian Ling Jun Chen, to give a speech.
Good afternoon, Mr. General Secretariat General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of the government and the people of Myanmar, I, the President of Laos, have the great pleasure to welcome you all to the first Borneo Model Asian meeting, the first of its kind in East Malaysia under the University Malaysia Sarawak. After a span of decades of existence and regional development, ASEAN today has evolved into a highly and closely integrated political and economic entity, an indispensable partner of major countries and also an important player in the region. We are here because right now, as there are many innocent lives who have suffered unspeakable and indescribable abuse, who pray day and night that someone might come to rescue them from perpetual torment and anguish. We are here because right now, in crowded refugee camps and cities around the globe, families of Rohingya descendants from Myanmar who has endured years and in some cases decades of abuse. And these desperate refugees survive on aid rations, staying afloat at sea, and who dream of somehow and some way they will have a real home in the future. We, the Association of Southeast Asian Countries, want to tell the world enough is enough. The humanitarian refugee crisis in the Rakhine state of Myanmar is the cause of immediate concern of all ASEAN countries. The loss of life cannot be disputed. Thus, the government and indeed the people of Laos are willing to shoulder the financial and social responsibility of providing a sanctuary, a comfortable shelter, and basic necessities to our Rohingya brothers and sisters. To use the opportunity for the meeting with other Asian leaders to seek better support and solutions for regional efforts to address the refugee crisis in Myanmar. BMAM 2017 has discussed to solve issues in relation to the three pillars, which is political security, economics, and social-cultural pillars. The meeting is also an excellent opportunity to underscore the importance of the rule of law and peaceful settlements of dispute. The interests of our people are at the heart of the ASEAN community building, and we shall work with our neighbors in addressing the transnational issue such as trafficking of persons, terrorism, and the human rights issue that is at hand. Laos acknowledges the interwoven relationship of political, economic, social, cultural, and the dimension of development, and promotes the renunciation of aggression and of the threat of use and the use of force on other nations in a manner inconsistent with the international law and reliance of peaceful settlements of dispute. We are all, we are one, we are ASEAN. Thank you.
Thank you. Let us welcome the Prime Minister